it feels like a win-win for Mark Stone, and he could be a guy that signs a nice lucrative. Maybe he does like Ottawa. Maybe he likes living there. Maybe he's settled down there and he found a home in Ottawa and really loves it and wants to stay there long term. That's great. This is just a win-win for Mark Stone, but it just adds another layer to what the hell is going on with Pierre Dorian and the Senators? Like, what? I get what you did here, and I know why you did it, but just more question marks surrounding this team.
Could just be buying themselves more time too, though. It's like, okay, we don't have to make a move till Jan 1. We can kind of gauge interest. We can try and put together a deal if we're going to move him if he has no interest in staying.
But
teams will get a rental, so it will be a discounted price unless they can do a sign and trade or pull off something like that.
Right, but also you're playing a dangerous game now. You're opening to the fact now where if the team starts off really slow and they're brutal and Erik Karlsson gets traded, he can look around the room and go, yeah, no thanks. I don't want to be here anymore.
It's not as though he's playing 5 minutes of ice time. It's like 20 plus minutes of ice time on average.
And he had an injury shortened season last year. Had a good year. Had 20 goals, 42 assists. He was if you like plus minus, he was a +9 as well. He's a guy scoring winger. He's a good player. He's a really good player, and he's only 26 years old, and he would make a ton of cheddar on the open market. I don't even know what that term would be. You look at that James Van Riemsdyk comparable, that contract what he signed with the Philadelphia Flyers. Signed 5 years at $35 million for James Van Riemsdyk, and he's, in his late 20s, 29, and he doesn't skate as well as Mark Stone, and Mark Stone's going to be 26. What number are we talking about for a guy like Mark Stone? $8 million per for what? 7 years for Mark Stone,
right?
But I think that's what he could get. And if I'm Mark Stone, okay, so what are teams with a ton of cap space? Oh, there's one in Las Vegas that has a good young team that has a lot of cap space. Maybe my boy Erik Karlsson goes there too. Maybe I'll go play for the Golden Knights at 7 years at $8 million per. Why not? There's a lot of money to be had for Mark Stone, and this is just a win-win. It's just if I'm Pierre Dorian and I'm the Ottawa Senators. It's just another, oh my, really? Now we have to deal with this too? So our three best players can all walk for free next summer. What do we do? Oh, and by the way, we have that enormous monkey on our back saying, oh, if you're terrible and you get in the lottery, you might hand over the number one pick. Jack Hughes, who, by the way, if you watch that ridiculous World Junior Showcase, I don't even know what the hell it is. It's such meaningless hockey.
The logo looks like something from the Transformers.
Yeah, it does. Like it's gonna morph in the World Junior logo eventually. But if you watch the highlights of how ridiculous Jack Hughes is, that's the prize at the end of all this, and you might be handing him over to the Colorado Avalanche, who are just rubbing their hands. Hey, thanks for that trade. You can have Matt Duchene. So now you have to sign Matt Duchene if you're the Senators. It's just you have three of your best players who can walk away for free. It just adds another layer to the disaster that has been the Ottawa Senators in the last year and a half.
Well, and then you talk about the money, right? We were talking about William Nylander's contract yesterday with Gord Stellick and where he kind of falls into the mix.
Yeah.
And one of the contracts is Pasternak that people definitely look to as a comparable. Ehlers as well. So that's like $7 million per. And so you have Stone, who now bought himself another year of precedent with an increasing cap that's only going to inflate year after year. So easy enough for him to say, well, look at my production over the last 3 years. I've had 60 points in three of my last 4 seasons. I've had 60 points. I've had at least 20 goals. And again, you mentioned a shortened 2017-2018 season, 20 goals in 58 games. So you go ahead, you sign Mitch Marner, you sign Nylander, and you set a precedent for me to be able to strong-arm Ottawa if they want to keep me and if they want some goodwill towards the fans and if they want to keep someone in their system that can still make an impact now instead of doing a full-on Philadelphia 76ers rebuild, trust the process.
Right, yeah, and unfortunately they don't have that luxury because they don't own their first-round pick. But yeah, it's just those guys have those, it's a different situation. The Leafs own those guys' rights, but Mark Stone is just beautiful. I'm going to hit the jackpot here. This is the best because I can just completely control whatever I want to do now. They don't have my rights. I'm going to make some nice bank this season or get me the hell out of Ottawa, or then the Senators try to trade him at the deadline and recoup some assets and try to get some picks back. But that first-round pick thing, because I think that's a storyline here that tough. And again, I understand why the Senators kept it because it's a pride thing and say, no, we're not going to be that bad next season. But
woof.
You look at that roster, it is bad. Well, we saw that trade yesterday, too, which I thought was fascinating with the Buffalo Sabres. I love August trades. Like,
they
it's the
seemingly
best.
come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
It's like
it was
getting
really
smacked
nowhere.
across the face. You're just like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Head turning.
So speaking of guys who are heading into unrestricted free agency, Jeff Skinner's got a year left on his deal. He's a guy. He's a young kid too. He's 26 years old. He turns 27 in May. He's a guy that he'll make a lot of money on the open market as well. He's 2 years removed away from scoring 37 goals. Had 24 goals last season on a Carolina Hurricanes team. Played every game. Plays a lot of games throughout his NHL career. Doesn't miss too much. If you're a plus minus person, he was minus 27 last year, which is fine on a very mediocre Carolina Hurricanes team. But he's a guy that the Canes wanted to trade for a while. They had a feeling they won't be able to re-up him. He's not going to stay long term in Carolina, so they go to Buffalo. Buffalo trades a couple prospects,
a deal that's
few
been
picks.
in the works for like a year. They were saying they've been trying to get this done for quite a number of months.
And the big surprising thing to me in all this was Buffalo was on his list of teams he would go to.